Welcome back to the show, Golf Sickos. It's another Monday. We've made it through. We've made it through a lean couple weeks, I would say, between the Masters and the PGA. We had some good golf, but I feel like these next 2 weeks we're really going to start to ramp up. I'm joined, as always, by you ready for this one? Brother from another mother.
Hey,
Ben
my mom will
Boscovich.
love that one. What's up, everybody?
Editor-in-Chief of Scratch. I'm using a different moniker for you every single week.
That's fun. Good.
Yeah,
bet.
today I went with, I liked last week was Take Consigliere.
Consigliere was good.
I like that one a little bit better. There's something very cool about what Scottie Scheffler did this week.
Yes.
There's something not as cool about what my dog Billy did to my eye this week. If you're wondering what happened here, I've got she's almost a year old now, a puppy, and we were wrestling a little bit. When like boxers are taunting other boxers and they lead with their head, they're like, "Come get me." That's kind of what I was doing, and she got me. She hit me with a left hook. That's fine. Scottie Scheffler hit the field with a bunch of left hooks this week. You like that little segue?
Yes.
Like I said, there's something cool about what he did. So he entered the week as a massive favorite. I think he was plus 280 to win the tournament, so less than 3-1. You don't see that very often. It was sort of an imbalanced field. It was kind of him and then everybody else. There was a big gap. Most guys are playing next week, or this week now. Truist Championship. We'll be going, both of us, to Philly later today, and then PGA Championship next week. But Scottie opted not to play the Truist, so he played Nelson, skipped, and then he's going straight to Quail Hollow. So he's plus 280 to start the week. He basically birdies every hole in the front nine on Thursday, and the tournament was basically over. It was donezo. He went wire to wire. He did not, though, set the record for the lowest 72-hole score. He tied it. We'll get to that. A little bit of a disappointing finish, but a great week for Scottie. But I want to start the show with this stat from Jason Sobel that shows Scottie's winning percentage. So he's just over 10% for his career. You can see the guys above him: Tiger Woods, Ben Hogan, Byron Nelson, Sam Snead, Jack Nicklaus, Rory McIlroy. We were talking about this yesterday on the watch along, Ben. Like, where is Scottie all time?
Yeah.
And we were saying he's on pace, and I think that's proof.
Pacing.
He's pacing. He's got a way to go to get to equal those guys above him, but he's on pace, and it's even more impressive if you start the count, obviously, with his first win, the 2022 WM Phoenix Open. So starting that week, I remember that was the one that bled into the Super Bowl. It was his first win. He won in a playoff. I remember that very well. I was there, actually. He's won 14 out of 69 starts since then. So that's just over 20%.
Okay.
So 1 in 5 since he started, which is tremendous stuff. And he was in fine form early, this week, earlier this year. It was fine. I want to say fine form. That can easily be misconstrued as like really good form. I meant fine, like the actual meaning of the word.
Actually,
fine.
still was really good, probably.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he was third in the FedEx Cup.
Yeah.
He was third in the FedEx Cup. But it was like his BB plus game. He was sort of in contention. We're wondering, is Scottie going to round into form? He broke contain this weekend, and it was so good that even the awful shots were good. So on the 12th hole, we were on this watch along watching. It looked like he absolutely stuck this one in the ground. Let's take a look at where this shot ended up. I mean, one arm finish. You're
twirl.
thinking this is going so far left. It's 5 feet, 6 feet. I think that's when you know that the guy is dialed. And we thought he was going to break the record, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
We thought
we were going for 33.
We were going for 33. That's what we wanted. And he was 32 under for the week. And also, this is a par 71. There's only 3 par 5s on the course. So 32 under par, gets 17 T. And he needed to finish par to set the record. Par birdie to get to 33, which we wanted him to get to. 17 was an easy little par 3. It was not a very long hole. He hits it short, and then he goes full Aria on it. And I'm sorry to Aria Jutanugarn for saying that it's full Aria.
It's her thing now.
But it's her thing now. I think when you do something so famous on the 72nd hole of a major, or so notable, I should say, it's like
the Bryson shot out of the bunker is a 50-yard bunker shot is a Bryson shot now.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
A 50-yard shot out of the bunker that you hit to 4 feet, that's a Bryson. A full-on duff is an Aria, unfortunately.
Sorry, Ari.
I'm sorry, Aria, but that's what happened. So he actually had to make like a 6-footer for bogey on 17. And then on 18, par 5, reachable, hits it dead center, 250 in, 4-iron, hits a little bit right, chips to about 8 feet, and here was his effort to tie the record. Didn't go in.
Low.
We were excited. We were going to get a clip out of it. We were going to get everything out of it. He said after the round, and we actually spoke to Scottie Scheffler. We got 2 of the 4 highest ranked players.
We got big dogs on the show today.
We have 2 of the highest 4 ranked players in the world on our show today. Eric Van Rooyen finished second. We'll hear from him later in the show. But solo fourth was Jordan Spieth. Here was his putt on 18 to finish with a birdie. He's got a sponsor invited to the Truist, but let's roll that clip. For birdie on 18. Let's take him home. His last putt before he chases the career Grand Slam. Let's not forget, right after Rory did it, Jordan's got a chance, and it falls in. Jordan Spieth to solo third. He'll probably get caught because the scores are definitely low. The course doesn't have much teeth. But as far as preparation to chase the career Grand Slam goes, it doesn't get much better than a 62 on Sunday for Jordan Spieth. Get us to Quail Hollow.
Get him there now.
Get him there to Quail Hollow.
On the plane.
You don't need the Truist, bro. So he is playing the Truist. I think maybe, I think it might be a strategic move to just go to Quail Hollow, but he got a sponsor invite.
He needs reps.
Yeah, he's going to get some more reps. He's sneaky playing okay. We were looking at his results yesterday. T12, this was his last 4 starts. T12 at the Valero, T14 at the Masters, T18 at the RBC Heritage, and then solo 4th at the Byron Nelson. And like I said on that watch-along, let's not forget he's chasing the career Grand Slam at Quail Hollow. Rory's done it now, so all of the attention on the career Grand Slam is on Jordan. Phil Mickelson's also just one major short, but I don't think anyone believes that Phil's winning a U.S. Open at this age. So it's Jordan Spieth who has the chance to do it, and yet he himself still feels like he's a long way off. I thought this was really interesting. So here he was after the round. He was talking about Scottie. They both went to Texas, which, by the way, our video is doing great. If you haven't watched the video Inside Texas Golf program, please do. There's more where that came from. They play together a lot at home. They're both Dallas guys. They played together the first 2 rounds of this tournament. And here was Jordan Spieth talking about the gap between him and Scottie Scheffler.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago I was definitely better than him. And then now I'm definitely not right now. And I hate admitting that about anybody. But I just watched it, those first 2 rounds. I'm like, I got to get better.
That's high praise, and you don't hear that a lot from, like, the way he said that. I don't know if it was there was a certain I don't know.
There's a kind of weightless humility with that statement that is exactly what you want to hear from a guy who needs a big win in 2 weeks. It wasn't
like I think it was like he's better than me. You just don't hear that very often.
It's an acceptance you don't hear on that podium.
Especially from a guy like Jordan Spieth, but he's absolutely right. So, I mean, it's shaping up real nice for Quail Hollow. Real nice. So we've got Rory McIlroy. There's kind of 5 guys who I feel like are going to have big headlines going into the event. We got Rory McIlroy with all the pressure off. He's won at Quail Hollow 4 times. Loves that golf course. We got Justin Thomas, who got a win recently at the RBC Heritage. This is where he won the last time there was a major here. 2017 PGA, he won it. We got Scottie Scheffler, who just won a golf tournament by, what do you win by 9? Was it
9.
8? 9 or 8?
It was 8 or 9.
8 or 9.
It wasn't 10. We won at 10.
So he's rounding into form. You've got Jordan Spieth chasing the career Grand Slam, and he's playing nice. And you've got Bryson DeChambeau in amazing form. He's had a chance to win basically his last 4 events and 4 of the last 5 majors. So, and it's a big golf course, and the rough is going to be really long. So Bryson's going to love his chances. A few more things at the Nelson that stuck out. So there's a live event that's going to be at Maridoe Golf Club in June. It's going to be so fucking hot. June in Dallas. It's a good thing they can wear shorts on that tour because it's going to be very, very hot. I don't know if this is like an intra-Texas rivalry, but I guess the owner of Maridoe flew this banner. Albert Huddleston, the owner of Maridoe Golf Club near Dallas, is having this plane fly over the Nelson. Can we zoom in? I think we have another shot. Yeah, enjoy the Nelson and live golf at Maridoe, June 27, 20. That's kind of an asshole move.
I don't know. It's all like you're saying, enjoy both.
Yeah. So you're taking the stance of like he's just saying we got something else coming too. He's not trolling.
Why wouldn't it just be like a live golf banner if he wasn't trying to like throw an olive branch out too and be like golf rules?
Okay. So you were on the other side of that.
I'm the optimist.
I didn't like it, but that's okay. That's what makes the world go round. And then Davis Riley. So they're using rangefinders on the PGA Tour right now. They're doing a little test. And I will say the pace moved beautifully on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Twosomes helps.
Twosomes helps everything. And I think the pace moving is definitely more a result of twosomes than the rangefinders. But Davis Riley got penalized because he used the slope feature. And this is something that you never had to think about before because you weren't allowed to use them in tour events. You got to have one for the practice round that has slope and one for the event that doesn't have slope no matter what. It can't just be like a little switch on the side.
Oh, you can even have the option to switch it on.
That would be my
Oh, I thought you were saying the rule.
No, that's not the rule. The rule is you can as long as you don't use slope, but it's too close, man.
He just forgot to flip
forgot to flip it, and no one, respect to him, because no one would have known.
Oh, that's right. Did he call this on himself?
He called it on himself because it just shows in the the little reading when you're shooting on the rangefinder.
Good for him. I love that.
Yeah, game of honor for sure. But yeah, if I'm a tour pro, I'm having one rangefinder for practice rounds that has slope, and then one for the tour event that doesn't have slope. It can't just be a switch on the side.
Yeah, you can't let that mistake be in play.
I was reading a book called Atomic Habits about how to change habits and have self-control, and the number one thing about self-control is put yourself in positions to not have to use self-control.
Right, don't give yourself the option.
Right, like if I'm not trying to drink, I don't want to have beers right there in the fridge. Same thing here. Like I don't want the slope can't be.
I don't want that available to me.
I just don't want that available to me. So Scottie Scheffler won the tournament, and how about this? We spoke to Scottie Scheffler yesterday, #1 golfer in the world, 14-time PGA Tour winner. Here is our interview with Scottie Scheffler. I saw you got emotional after the win in your interview on the green. You've won a lot of golf tournaments, ones that might be bigger than this to the average fan. Why did this one mean so much to you?
Well, I mean, I get pretty emotional after winning. It's just sometimes I break down in front of people, and then other times I don't. On this occasion, it was pretty special because, a lot of memories come back. This was my first start as a professional in 2014. My first start on the PGA Tour in 2014. I had my sister caddying for me. The girl I was dating at the time, my girlfriend was Meredith, who's now my wife, and we have a son now, and my sister has 2 kids. Her second was born on the same day as Bennett. We're celebrating their first birthdays this weekend, and so there was a lot going on, and this tournament also means a lot to me. My family does as well, so it was nice having everybody here, and it was a fun week for sure.
Were you at all aware of the record, of the 252 record? And then as far as 72-hole performance, where does this rank for you of the tournaments that you've won?
Well, I think it was probably my my largest margin of victory, and I put together 4 really solid days. I think yesterday I struggled a little bit with my ball striking, but today I did a lot of things well out there, and I put myself in a good position most of the week, and I had no idea about any records or anything like that. I was just trying to stay committed to my shots and do my best out there.
What did you guys talk? What did you and Ted talk about? Because I feel like you were basically, for the last 8 holes, it was pretty much a march to victory. Did you have some games you were playing between you guys? How'd you stay locked in?
Well, I mean, I was just trying to be focused with each shot. Teddy and I weren't really playing any games out there. We were sticking to our normal routine and staying committed to what we were doing and not overthinking things out there. Eric is one of my good buddies out here, and we chatted a little bit out there. I'm not really sure what about, but it was a good day.
And then the last question, I wanted to ask about your decision to play this week and then not play next week. Was that with all eyes toward the major, or what went into that decision?
Well, I mean, it's nice for me to be at home for a week, and this will give me 3 weeks in a row at home leading into a major, and it's nice to have that. Sorry, Blake just dropped me off a piece of pizza right here. I'm kind of excited.
You can eat it. You can eat it.
No, but yeah, I think in terms of major championship prep, last year going into the U.S. Open, I felt like I learned a little bit about my prep work, and going from Memorial to the U.S. Open was definitely a challenge, playing a really difficult golf course the week before, and having not played Philly Cricket before, maybe that factored into my decision a little bit, but overall, I'm very happy to be here supporting my home event, and this tournament means a lot to me, and I'm proud to be sitting here.
Well, good plan. We'll see you at Quail Hollow, and great week.
Bye. Thanks. See you later.
3 weeks at home sounds nice.
Yeah, it does. Sure does.
3 weeks at home sounds really nice.
Also, just casually being like, I've never played Philly cricket, so I'm not going to go play that Tilly, baby. Come on.
He's like, I don't want to open that can of worms. I get it. Listen, I mean, there's a lot of points, a lot of money, but I don't think Scottie gives a toss, using a British term. They say I don't give a toss.
Give a toss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like a nice way of saying I don't give a shit, but I just
like that.
defeated the purpose.
Tosser, isn't what they call you?
Well, tosser is like, that's a derogatory
That's a bad
term.
one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I don't give a toss is a nice way of saying I don't give a shit, which I don't know why I keep saying it.
Just
say don't give a toss. Okay, we're going to move into a segment that we call the Knockaround, presented by Knockaround Sunglasses. These are the Paso Robles. I believe these are the brushed sage.
Ooh, I like that color.
These might be my favorites right now.
Yeah.
We're heading to Philly right after this. Don't know if I'm going to need these. You've been telling me that the forecast is not super hot.
They're a look. Wear them anyway.
Yeah, I could just wear these for the rest of the segment. I might. I really like these. These sunglasses are $35, and the quality is unbelievable. And we have a promo code for you. If you go to knockaround.com and you use the promo code DanOnGolf20, you get 20% off your first order, which brings these under $30. And I'm telling you guys, for sunglasses, I lose sunglasses a lot. I don't like spending crazy amount of money on sunglasses because I lose sunglasses a lot. You don't sacrifice the quality with these knockarounds. Okay. We're hopping right in. Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy, they announced that they are having the Internet Invitational in partnership with Bob Does Sports.
That's right.
They've been working on this for a long time. Yeah, there it is, $1 million for the prize pool. So that's obviously going to draw a super strong field.
Would you play if they asked you?
I would play. Yeah, I would.
For $1 million.
I don't think I'm going to get asked. I don't think Dave likes me very much. He wasn't like, when I left, there was, he said a couple things that like weren't the nicest thing ever. I mean, I have no problem with anyone there. I had a great experience. I don't think they'll play. I would.
What's the field like? Do you think you can compete in this field?
I like my game.
Yeah, I like your game too, especially new sticks.
I just need to like carve out 2 weeks of practice. I signed up for the Mid-Am, for the U.S. Mid-Am qualifier.
Much more important.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not going to pay $1 million, but I just need to practice. Like I just need 2 weeks to practice. But so, there was Creator Classic kind of started this last year. We had a Creator Classic at TPC Sawgrass this year. There was the Live Duels event. Now there's the Internet Invitational. This is the way of the world.
Yeah.
No one owns golf tournaments, and at a certain point, it's competition. Is that
Yeah, I think things have evolved a little bit, but there's also still a dream come true benefit to like playing those tour courses in tournament condition the day before the pros do. Like, I think that's the I'm biased, but the X Factor Creator Classic is that sort of like, we grow up wanting
it's live.
Yeah, what if we were in that situation?
It's also
scenario?
live, and Live Duels was not live. They edited it, and this is, I don't know how they're going to do this, but I would imagine there's going to be some sort of like editing process. It's 5 days. They said August 12th through August 16th.
Oh yeah, then it's going to be either episodic or like
right. So it's it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
everything's coming up golf. I think that's a good thing about
everything
all this,
is coming up golf. Golf. I mean, we've talked about this. You're a big fashion guy. Like the amount of golf even brands that aren't really golf brands that are now like dropping golf. Like Reigning Champ. I remember when
Oh yeah.
That's like just a brand that would make like really good basics. Now they have like a golf line. Don't they?
Yeah, wore their hat on the show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So yes, I would play, but I don't think I'll get the invite. Okay. Bryan Brothers. They had a U.S. Open qualifier at the course they own. I don't know if I think they own it. At Salina, and George got through. Also, the Q comes out today, the Myrtle Beach qualifier, where they have, I think it's 8 content creators and 8 aspiring pros, so juniors and kind of mini tour guys playing for one spot in the Myrtle Beach Classic, which is this week. I played in that last year, finished 9th. Feels so long ago.
Who won when you played?
Matt Atkins.
So they got into the queue.
Yeah, but he was a tour pro.
He was already tour pro.
Played Corn Ferry Tour and stuff. I knew I wasn't going to win. I just didn't want to finish last, and I didn't.
Top 10.
Yeah, top 10 out of 16. But hey, feels like so long ago. Bryson DeChambeau won in Korea. So Bryson's been in the mix the last 4 tournaments he's played. And he's had a really bad last couple final rounds. Live Miami at Doral, he made a mess in the back 9. The Masters, he shot 76, just did not have it at all. Live Mexico, he was in the lead and got leapfrogged by Joaquin Niemann. He began the day with a 4-shot lead and almost got caught by Charles Howell III, but he got it done. He's playing some amazing golf. So the world rankings are broken. I think we've been very clear and open about that. The Data Golf rankings, this is who they have as their top 4 players in the world: Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, in that order.
Because of Rahm's like top 10 record.
So that's bringing me to my next point. So speaking of Jon Rahm, he finished in the top 10 again in Korea. He's played 19 live events, and he's finished in the top 10 19 times. Every single one. I don't really know what to make of this. I saw someone tweet today that since he's gone to live, so he's 19 of 19 in top 10s in live events. In the majors, he's gone 7th, 14th, 45th, miscut, withdrawal. So 1 of 5 in the majors and 19 of 19 in live events. What do you make of it?
Maybe he's enjoying the atmosphere of playing live golf more because he feels less pressure and he's got more money and there's less people out there and like he just plays better golf that way? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, no, I think there's sort of like 2 points here. One is like Rahm is amazingly consistent, and the second one is Liv is not as deep, and I think they're both true.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a lot of pressure these days to go completely one side of this means Rahm's amazing, or the other side, this means Liv is not as deep. I think they're both true.
But when you look at data golf, like I think that's a good backing while the OWGR is in maintenance.
No, I mean I think Rahm is definitely a top 10 player in the world. But you know we're in a strange era. We've talked about this a lot with like Joaquin Niemann, where you got to do it in the majors, and I think that's one of the reasons why Bryson is like everyone's saying Bryson's a top whatever player, and he's a lock for Bethpage. It's because of what he's doing in the majors.
Bryson winning in Korea is also huge for his brand, just because of how big golf is there. Like for him to like be on that stage and be an ambassador, a global ambassador that he's become. Like, it's pretty and
entertaining and stuff. I saw some videos of him signing autographs, and it was like he was Elvis Presley.
Did you know that in Korea? I think this is true. A guy from this company told me, so it might be a marketing point. But there are more golf simulators in Korea than there are Starbucks. That's how franchised indoor golf has become.
Well, I don't know how big Starbucks is in Korea. That's kind of, and not to
but Starbucks is global. Like they're everywhere.
Not to poke a hole in your balloon there, but like I don't know. You could tell me. You could tell me there's 10,000 Starbucks, or you could tell me there's 5, and I would believe you.
But golf simulators more than Starbucks.
Okay.
Like,
I'm sorry, it didn't land for me.
Doesn't shock you.
I just don't know how big Starbucks is. That's
like one of the best facts I ever received.
I've never been to Korea. I don't know how big Starbucks is.
We got to go.
I'm sorry. Okay, so Bryson gets the win. We're going from one Bryson to another. Bryson Nimmer won the Korn Ferry event in Mexico. It's like a different sport from last week. So last week there was a 30 under par winner, 9 under cut, 21 under was outside the top 20. This week the winner was 9 under, -2 was T18. Our boy Neil Shipley finished T18. Oh, cool. Blades Brown, first of all, amazing trophy.
Yeah.
Look at that thing. I actually haven't seen an image of that until just now, and that thing is sick.
That might be top 5 golf trophies ever.
That is a sick trophy. It looks like a taxi. What is that? Is that a Jaguar? Is that like
It's got to be something.
Puma?
Yeah, that's a big cat.
Wow, there's a lot of detail on that too. That's a sick trophy.
So you hang that in your house and it just looks like decor, and you're like, no, I actually won that shit.
Yeah, that's one that goes like at the top of the living room.
Oh yeah.
So he was a conditional member, so winning changes everything. Blades Brown shot 27 under last week. He shot 10 over this week to miss the cut. So golf is
it's volatile when you're a teen.
Golf is a hard game. In Utah, Black Desert Championship, Heiron Ryu won the tournament, wire to wire. The top American, I saw this, was Austin Kim. She finished in a tie for 10th. That's not a good stat.
Austin Kim is going to be contributing to Scratch.
That was not a shot at Austin Kim. I was more just saying like the top American in the tournament was 10th place.
Was 10th?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's not great.
I mean, the LPGA is pretty internationally.
I know. I root for the Americans. I think that's okay.
Oh, yeah. That's all right.
Over on the PGA Tour Americas, so not only are they testing, the rangefinders on the PGA Tour, they're also testing this new pace of play policy on the developmental tours. So on the Korn Ferry Tour, PGA Tour Americas, they're being much more strict with penalties, like when they hand them out. So on the PGA Tour Americas this week, Hunter Walcott got a 1-stroke penalty, and he still won the tournament. He said, "You can let yourself be a victim, or you can overcome it." Do we have a clip of Hunter, Andy? There he is.
This last weekend that I was worrying about it, that it never came into my mind when David had a big lead. I'm one shot really more. I was truly turned the page and was focusing on the shot at hand, and I really did that to great execution.
I was going to give him dog of the week because that's dog mentality, but he got a 1-shot penalty for slow play. It's
for slow play.
Yeah, I don't want to reward that behavior.
I like what he said there. That's like the relatable moment where he said, like, I'm not walking around thinking like, well, I'm actually one more. Like, how many times have you missed like a tap in, and then you like walking back to your cart and you're like, that's a 4.
It also sounds like he was maybe thinking about he's 1 shot worse.
He was thinking about.
You know what I mean? Like that's something that someone who's thinking about it. That's what they would say. But again, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's great that he won the tournament, and nice to put that away, but he got a 1-shot penalty for playing slow. I'm not going to crown the guy for that.
He almost wish he would have lost by 1 because of slow play, so you could be like, this is why we need rules.
That would have been sick.
Yeah.
That would have been sick, because now they're like, oh, I don't know if it's worth it if I'm whatever. Anyways, that's good that they're doing stuff about pace of play. I'm sure we'll get twosomes this week in Philly. I'm sure it'll move really quickly. Big news that dropped middle of last week. Collin Morikawa split with his longtime caddy, JJ Jakovac, who's a fine player in his own right. I feel like I have to say that.
Got a hole-in-one at Sawgrass this year.
He did. But he did. You were there, weren't you?
I was watching it.
Yeah. Fine player in his own right. I feel like that's one of those, there's certain phrases that are like tied specifically to a context. Fine player in his own right. I don't think I've ever heard that said outside the context of a caddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, of a caddy.
Caddy talk.
So I feel like I have to say that. He won a D2 national championship. They won 2 majors together. This was a surprise. So Colt Knost broke the news. I texted Collin and I said, hey, would you come on the show and explain? Oh, it's not just that he split with JJ Jakovac. He's hiring full-time Joe Greiner, who was Max Homa's caddy for a really long time, who was just filling in on Justin Thomas's bag and got the win with JT. So Collin said yes, which was very nice. He doesn't owe us anything.
He doesn't owe us anything.
He doesn't. And, we put a clip out of this last week, but we wanted to roll the full interview. Here is myself and Collin Morikawa. All right, we're joined by Collin Morikawa. Love my check-ins with Collin. It's been a little while. There's a lot to get to. First, it's 7:15 your time. You're an early riser, huh?
Early. And I'm sorry I was late. I like to be on time, and you didn't tell me I needed to be on Chrome and, download this app and a lot of things this morning.
What's your morning routine? Do you have like I saw there was that video that went mega viral of the guy with like the banana peels. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Do you have like a morning routine? Because I just scroll on my phone for like 20 minutes. It's not good.
Yeah, that's normally the same for me. I kind of like see what's going on in the world. And then, just some days I have like 4 things I got to do, whether it's a meeting or an appointment or house stuff. And I try and get that all done in the morning as much as I can. And then the rest of the day is, hanging out, practicing, working out, that type of stuff.
Is it starting to get hot in Vegas yet, or is it still nice?
A little bit. It hasn't touched 90 though, and that's a win. I mean, we're pretty much, we're in May, and having not touched 90 or 100 it's amazing. Yesterday was probably the nicest day I've seen out here, and I wish every day was like that. But
wait, so you practice in the afternoons, even in the summer when it's hot, not in the mornings?
No, I'll go in the mornings, but it's not that bad. I mean, when I'm in a golf cart and there's comfort stations and you can go sit down for 5 minutes, grab a drink, eat some food, it's, there's a lot worse places I could be than out there on the golf course.
Yeah. So wanted to get into the news. So Colt Knost broke this yesterday. New caddy. We were texting a little bit. I know you have a lot of pride in the work that you and JJ did together. You guys won 2 major championships. Why the decision? Why the switch?
Well, I mean, first off, it doesn't take away anything that JJ and I have done over the last 6 years. From the very beginning, he has caddied for me every single tournament. He skipped 1 tournament for the birth of his second boy.
I think he started in your sectional, right? Like even before. Like
he started in my sectional. Yeah, essentially, literally day 1. And, I haven't had anyone since. So I just want to first thank him because, like I said, you can't take away any of that. Like what we accomplished, our relationship, our friendship, like that doesn't just go away because of what has just happened. But, addressing why I split up with him essentially is just because sometimes things just aren't feeling right. And I think when people look at it from the macro perspective of, okay, Collin's playing great. He's contending. He's trying to close out tournaments. And even at the beginning of the year, everything looked very, very good. Sometimes, on the golf course, things just don't feel right. And when you look back at it, it's a partnership. It's a team effort. And I think for both of us, I take ownership on part of it. I think he takes a little bit of ownership as well, where when you're out there, you just want to be vibing really, really well. You want everything to be out there and you don't want to be holding back. And I think we were both holding back in a way where we just weren't. I think when you look at how I played, early on in my career, I was just having a lot of fun, smiling a lot. Doesn't mean I have to be all smiley out there, but there's a sense of enjoyment. And I think for both of us, the stress was kind of building a little bit, on decision making, on certain little things. And unfortunately, just got to a point where I think I have to make a change. I have to take full accountability. And at the end of the day, I'm the one hitting the shots. But sometimes you need a little switch up, and that's where it came to be.
It's a hard phone call, though. I would imagine it's like a breakup. Is it you just get right into it, or do you make what I'm saying? Like it's got to be. It's a little bit emotional, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've never had to do it. I've never had to go through this process, especially, if you had hired someone for a month and you had to fire them, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It sucks, but it's so early on. But for something that has lasted so long, I honestly had to think about it a little bit and just, how do I tell him that it's going to be over? It wasn't something I was looking forward to. It wasn't something that I wanted to ever do, and I ever thought I was going to do. But like I said, it comes down to being a business decision, right? For me, I have to think and do what's best for my future and what I think is best for my future. This does not mean I'm going to go out and immediately play well or immediately not play well. Like, I've got to figure out those things on my own. But from just wanting to be there and enjoying it, and I don't tell me, I didn't, it's not like I didn't enjoy it before. I absolutely loved it. But there's just different vibes sometimes, and you want to be in the right mindset. And golf is such a mind game that you want to be just in the right headspace. So it wasn't an easy talk. But like I said, I hope our friendship continues. I mean, I'm sure it's, I don't know when I'll see him next. And I hope all the best. I hope guys are lining up for him because, look, I mean, if you look at his resume, you look at what we've done just simply over the past 6 years. It's incredible.
JJ's a hell of a caddy. I have no doubt that he'll be back out there soon. So Joe, this is exciting as well. Tell me about your relationship with him and sort of how this came to be. He's been on a little bit of a roller coaster. He was with Max Homa for a while, then he goes and gets a fill-in win with Justin Thomas, and now he's moving over to your bag. How'd this come about?
Yeah, I mean, look, in my head, when he had split up with Max, I was fully with JJ. Like, it never crossed my mind about switching caddies just because there's another great caddy out there. To me, JJ was the best at the time in what I thought was best for me. And then they split up and he starts caddying for JT, a couple events just to fill in for Revy. And, it starts to, when things pop up in your head, you start to give it a little bit of thought. And look, I've known Joe just simply through Max. I've played a lot with Max. Max has been one of my best friends out on tour. So, going down this path was a little weird in a way. I had to clear some things up in my head. I did talk to Max a little bit just to kind of tell him what I was doing, and I appreciate Max just taking the phone call because, I'm sure from Max's perspective, they didn't want to split up either. I mean, it's a very similar scenario where they had been together for such a long time and they've been longer friends than, I was with JJ. So it's never easy when you leave someone, when you've created this relationship. And, for me, what I've seen with Joe is just someone that wants to continue to learn, wants to continue to get better. We've already talked numerous times on how we're going to just get started. And, he is a great caddy. He's one of the best out there. Obviously, what he did with JT, JT is an amazing player, and he is very, very talented. But, when you have a new caddy in, sometimes it frees people up. Sometimes it goes the other way, and obviously it helped JT for those two events.
What do you everyone is looking for something different from a caddy. I think, some guys think about Rory, a guy who really takes a lot of ownership, and then I feel like you and JJ are more like talk it through. So what do you expect out of your caddies?
Well, first off, I expect them to be themselves. Like, I'm not trying to change who they are. I'm hiring them because of who they are, right? So if they think they need to be a yes man and just, be here on a silver platter and give me what they think I want, that's the last thing I want. I want them to be there and just have conviction and telling me, do this, don't do this. This is what I think. I'm someone that loves all the information. I think that's why JJ and I work, because we talked about everything out there. And I think that's what Joe is going to be able to give me, is everything I need to know, all this information. He's going to give it to me, and I'm going to be able to filter, and he's going to be able to filter, what we need to do ultimately to decide on the best shot possible in front of us. But, knowing how Max is, knowing how I am, I think we're very similar in that way. And just knowing Joe's personality, I think it's going to vibe really well. It's hard to really describe, the vibes of different caddies, right? I think people can assume off a country club caddy. You go there and you're like, man, this guy gives me the ick, or this guy, is really too much, right? Like there's a lot of different sides to being a caddy. And like I said, like I'm hiring Joe because I want Joe on my bag. I don't want someone else, and Joe thinks he needs to be someone else. I want Joe Griner, and we're gonna figure it out on what's best on how we go through the round.
Moving topics a little bit. Did you watch? I know you finished up like an hour or two before. Did you watch Rory at the Masters?
I did. Yeah. We were watching that all play out.
What was your impressions of that? I mean, you've played with everyone at this point, and you've played a lot of golf with Rory. I know you're not like a golf history buff, but were you able to sort of lean into appreciate that moment?
Man, you keep nailing me on this non-golf history buff. Like,
we can cut
just
that.
Because,
we can cut that.
I mean, you keep just screwing the nail in, and then guys freaking.
Well, you didn't know that Jack Nicklaus won the 1986 Masters, so that was, you know.
Look, I was born in 1997. All right, so I appreciate history. It doesn't mean my brain remembers every piece of history here, Dan.
Fair enough.
All right, I've got other things that my brain remembers. All right, but look, absolutely. When this was, truly, when I look back at it, I mean, for me as a professional golfer since 2019, this is honestly like the biggest thing that has happened when I was playing. Right. I mean, I've seen history being made. I mean, obviously
right,
Tiger winning 19.
That was right before you turned pro.
Right. So I'm in college still. So this is before I even know that I'm going to have a chance to play on the PGA Tour, right? This is very early stages. But this was something that, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to appreciate, and I'm going to witness, and I'm going to remember where I was at. I'm going to remember how it happened. A lot of emotions. I think we all went through the emotions of what was going on. Even when I was playing, you saw him double the first hole, and you're like, man, like, there's not a person in history that has had that much pressure to have to accomplish in the 5-hour window that he had. And golf is so difficult because, honestly, one shot can derail you for the rest of the day. And you would have thought, okay, double bogey, how do I get back after that? And he just kept fighting. And I think if you look at Rory's career, like, he's obviously someone that's never given up, and he never will. And that just showed. But 18 regulation, you think he hits the fairway, and I think it's over. And then you're kind of like, okay, well, just watching in the background, and then he hits the shot, and then all these shots go through my head. I mean, I was there. What were you? This was like 2023, I think, with Rory, or 22, where we both had this bunker shot. He was way farther up. He had the exact same bunker shot I had. We both hold out. So I'm like, okay, all you got to do is kind of just chunk and run this, let it go to the hole. Hits a great shot. And I actually had the same par putt he had that day. And just by where he was aiming, I'm guessing, I have no clue. And obviously he knows the immense pressure that's going on. Everyone's feeling it. There's not a person in the world that wouldn't feel it. So maybe he just didn't want to give out the hole. I mean, I was putting for 20th place on Sunday. So, for me, like, I could play it a little outside. I knew it was going to break. And in that scenario, you just don't want it to not break. So look, for him to do that, come back in the playoff, props to him. It was incredible to watch. And you could see how just relieved he is. And that's a big part in golf is playing freely.
You've had, not the same trajectory necessarily, but you did win 2 majors very quickly, and then he's said that since it kind of feels like he's trying to win his first. Do you feel that at all?
In a way, yeah. You see all these guys win every year, and you kind of look back and you're like, man, like, I've been in that position, but like, it's been a little bit of a time, and it doesn't take away from the fact that you can do it. So it goes back to this whole question of like, oh, when are you going to win next? Like, when are you going to beat everyone this week? It's not like, oh man, I hope I can do it again. It's going to happen. I'm going to make myself, and I'm going to just will the ball into the hole one week, and then we're just going to do it, right? But yeah, when time goes on and you only get 4 a year, you kind of look back and you're like, man, where did those 4 go? When you don't play well, or you don't, the weeks don't go to plan, and they go really quickly. Like, once April hits and once we hit the Masters, the rest of the season just goes by in an instant. And for us, it's how do we slow things down? How do you appreciate the moment? How do you enjoy the moments, and really take it in? Because look, they can get very repetitive, even at new courses, even at new majors. Like, you have to just show up and be ready for a new opportunity, essentially.
How are we feeling? We're talking right before Truist. So you'll play Truist and then PGA back to back. Do you like having a big tournament the week before, and how are we feeling about the game? Obviously, it's been a super solid year statistically, results-wise.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually enjoy playing the week before. When I look back at my 2 majors that I have won, I did play the week before as well. I tried to implement that into last year's strategy. I actually ended up not playing Valero this year just because of a few different reasons. But yeah, look, I like it, but sometimes the schedule just doesn't permit, and sometimes it kind of throws it off. So there's a balance. I don't think, I've won tournaments the first week I've gone out. I've won tournaments in the second or third week I've gone out. So it's not like a superstition where you have to do it. But when you get a little bit of prep, it's sometimes nice to just kind of see how the game's going. And the game feels great. Look, the game feels great. I just have to tidy up on little things that no one would ever know about. And I don't think anyone will ever know about, but it's just small things that make a big difference, right? Just simply pre-shot routine. What do I look at last over the golf ball? Like, do I look at my start line? Do I look at my target?
I started using the Bridgestone mindset ball.
Okay.
because I have such bad ADD that sometimes I'll be playing golf and I'm like, I haven't looked at the ball one time in 11 holes. Like, yeah, that's really interesting. So what you think about, like, the exact thing that you want to look at?
It's just about increasing my intensity. Is when I'm over the shot, you give me a 9-iron, 150 yards, right? We all know how to hit a 150-yard shot. But is everyone as intense as they need to be as if we were on the final hole at Augusta where you need to make birdie, right? Can I do that Thursday morning on the first hole? Can I do that Friday afternoon on the 16th hole? I have to do that every single hole if I want to be the best golfer I know I can be, and continue to contend and hopefully win a lot more tournaments. They're just little things. And it's hard sometimes because if you're going through a swing thought and you're working about, you're thinking through that, you can't really think about everything else. All you care about is your swing. But right now, the swing and the mechanical aspects feel good. It's just, how do I tidy up little things? And, sometimes they can make the biggest difference. And for me, that's what I feel like right now, that, like I said, no one knows what's going on in between my ears, and no one knows what's going on between, me and my caddy, really. But it's just the emotions that people get as a human being. Like, you get emotions and you get feelings on how you hit these shots. And it's just, for me, how do I not control them, but how do I make them a little bit more narrow and focused on what I want to do?
Cool. That's all I got for you, man. I appreciate it.
Sweet.
Good interview.
Really good interview.
Yeah,
if I may say so myself.
Some meaty stuff in there.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
What's funny to me is, if you played that all back and you didn't know that was like you talking to a golfer, he could have been talking about like a high school breakup in the beginning.
Totally.
All the phrase, I didn't know the vibes. I had to call my friend, make sure I could have his ex.
The best one that I heard was when he was like, when JT and Max, or when Max and Joe broke up, I was fully with JJ. Like, I was fully with JJ.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't even on.
I was still dating him.
Yeah, my mind wasn't even on Joe at the time. No, it is, and that's why I said it's like kind of like a breakup.
It's breaking up with a friend.
It's breaking up with a friend.
It sounds like they didn't leave it as like, we're still good bros. It sounds like they're like, okay, we'll see each other when we see each other, and we'll rebuild this into like a normal friendship.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little awkward.
It's hard.
That's hard. Okay, we're going to move into a Give Me a Winner with our man Rick Gaiman here. Rick has got some news. We're going to get into that. Rick, are you joining us?
Hello, boys. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Rick. It was a rough week last week. I'm not going to hide from it. Accountability is the best ability, okay? We didn't have it. We're still up massive. I think we have a graphic. I think we're still up 33 units, so that's good.
Yeah.
But last week was a 0.
We got smashed last week.
I'm going to hit the honesty button here. Give me a second.
Okay.
Lee Hodges is dead to me, okay? I was so frustrated watching Lee Hodges. It happens, right? That's part of the gig.
Yeah, he might be dead to me for a while too. It was really, really bad. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is part of it. I mean, golf handicapping, an outdoor sport with as many variables, is incredibly difficult. We've got a beautiful little buffer. So yeah, there's gonna be plenty of weeks like this. So don't worry about that. We'll be this is the long con that we're playing right now.
So you have some news for us. You're making a debut this week. You're doing some broadcasting for ESPN. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm headed down to Ponte Vedra. I'm going to be on PGA Tour Live. Now they do, I think there are 6 a year where they do, basically it's a betting feed. So, they have the main feed, they've got featured groups, featured holes, and like 6 times a year they have a bet feed. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They've got that great new awesome studios really. So yeah, I'm going to be down there all 4 days, 2 hours a day, talking about all the data and all the wagering and all that stuff that you can possibly imagine.
That's extremely exciting. So we've got an interesting week this week because it's a new golf course. So how do we go about breaking down a new golf course, and who's our pick for the week?
Yeah, so it's obviously very difficult. I like the data side of things. That does not exist. So you start to, quite honestly, start with satellite imagery, and you start looking at carry distances. You break this down like you were going to play the golf course, or like you were going to caddy for somebody who is going to play the golf course, and you start figuring out what types of skill sets are in play. So here's what I've got. So it's a Tillinghast. You guys have already talked about that. Gentle dog legs. There are fairway bunkers on the inside of most of these dog legs. If you can carry it like 310, depending on conditions, obviously, you're gonna take apart. You're gonna be able to avoid a lot of the stuff off the tee that's going to get you in trouble. I'm rolling with Xander Schauffele here, and the thing for me is the only negative that you can say about Xander is that he's been hurt in 2025. It's like, okay, well, that's not his fault, and he's healthy. So I look at what he's been up to his last 3 starts. He's been great on approach. He's gained nearly 20 strokes in 12 rounds from tee to green. This is a golf course, and I'll get to more on this with a guy in the top 20. Like, I think we have to admit that we don't know anything about this golf course. Like, step one, like, just admit we don't know. And these guys that are really well-rounded, that can get you to the top of the leaderboard in a variety of ways, they're not one-trick ponies. That's the kind of horse I want to ride this week. So it's Xander for me. He's 16-1.
That would be incredible. We talked about leading up to Quail Hollow. If we got Xander back in the mix too, that would be electric. Okay, top 10.
Yeah, if you think I'm missing out on Collin Morikawa with a first week and a new voice in his ear,
honeymoon stage.
You're absolutely nuts, right? We saw what Joe Grider did for JT, and Collin has been playing way better than JT has, right? I mean, he is an elite second shot player. The putter is the same as it's always been. It's been in and out. This is not a long golf course, fellas. Like, it's 7,100 yards as a par 70. There is one hole over like 450 yards on the front nine. Like, it's the par 5. Like, that's it. It's not a very long golf course at all. So Morikawa, I think, is going to be able to separate himself on those second shots. And yeah, I'm in honeymoon vibes. We're getting a little bit of plus money here, plus 120 for Collin to finish inside the top 10.
And then take us home with a top 20 pick. These are my favorites because even if you don't get off to a great start, you can still, unless your name is Lee Hodges, you can grind it out.
Yeah, no cut to deal with either. So we're good there. DB straight vibing, Daniel Berger.
Yes.
So he's been so good, fellas, and all top 25 finishes, all top 30 finishes or better since Phoenix. That was a long time ago. Coming off the 3rd place finish at the RBC Heritage, he's gaining strokes throughout his entire bag. And like I said, there's a really good chance that we have no idea how Philly Cricket Club is going to play when the pros get out there, right? We have no clue. Daniel Berger gives you a wide berth. Daniel Berger gives you a lot of avenues to the top of the board. I don't need him to get to the top. I need him to get on the first couple of pages. He's been awesome. I'm rolling with DB here.
Well, that brings me, Rick, to I got to keep you around for our question of the week presented by Certified Financial Planner Professionals. So from all your research, Rick, I don't know if Berger is this guy, but who's a guy that's not always like contending to win the tournaments, but just continues securing his financial future like he's an ATM?
Right. Yes. Well, as a fiduciary, it's my obligation to make sure that I get you the right answer here. I'm going with Brian Harman. That was the first name that popped into my head. So not always in the mix, but when he's in the mix, it's big time paydays, right? He has gained 7 or more strokes from tee to green in half of his last 6 starts. That's 3 for you math majors at home. Those 3 results, all very good. The other 3, like brutal miscut, like he's not going to be involved. But we know this all the time about Harman. He's a dog, right? You get him in the mix, you give him a chance to win. Actually, this might be a pretty good week for him considering it's a a short golf course, probably fairway through green stuff, and he's got that new putter in the bag, which has been working out for him.
Well, thank you very much, Rick. We appreciate it. Asking the right question can greatly impact your future, especially when it comes to your finances. So if you're looking for a financial advisor you can trust, certified financial planner professionals are committed to acting in your best interest. That's why it's got to be a CFP. Find your CFP professional at letsmakeaplan.org. I was going to say I'll see you this week, but you're going to be in Ponte Vedra. I'll see you next week.
I'll be in Ponte Vedra. I will see you in Charlotte. Yes.
Beautiful. Amazing.
Good luck this week, Rick.
Safe travels, guys. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ben.
We have a new segment that we're going to try.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this.
Me too.
It's called, this is a big social media thing. It's called Blind Rankings. So we have a topic, and then you're going to read me out choices. And I have a whiteboard right here, and I'm going to write my choices from 1 to 10. Now I'm going to hit the honesty button right here. The reason I'm really excited about this is because it makes you do some work.
Yeah.
And you had to prepare this. And I can just sort of react and have fun with this.
I'm getting proactive here on the show.
So Ben, run us through the category.
All right, so the category I picked specifically for you, it's our first one. We want to test it out, see how it goes. You were on the Tiger Woods beat when you worked at Golf Digest.
Indeed,
so,
yes.
You should remember every iconic Tiger celebration ever had.
Yes.
Correct?
I believe so.
None of these will stump you.
Okay.
We've got visual references for all of them if it does.
Okay.
And I think we'll show them anyway just because why not? They're fun moments.
They're great.
And a shout out to a friend of the show, Alex Myers. So he scientifically ranked the top 10 celebrations of Tiger's career for Golf Digest a few years ago. So I took his ranking as our rubric. I took 2 out. I threw a couple wild cards in. And yeah, I'm gonna feed these to you. You can't erase them once they're on.
No, that's the whole thing. I have
that eraser is there for typos, aesthetic.
You know what? This eraser is going in the trash.
Oh, okay.
I don't need this damn eraser.
I hope your penmanship is on point.
Okay, close my laptop. That's what the control room is telling me.
Oh yeah, because then you're gonna hold that up every
the
time.
The laptop is closed.
And show them where we're going.
That was fun, Andy. I haven't heard you talking there. You can do that some more. It's nice to hear from you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say hey anytime, Andy.
He's talking to me now. Okay. I didn't even know you could do that, Andy. Why have you not been doing that?
I do that.
I want you in the head. Okay. Anyways, let's start this ranking.
We're gonna kick it off with one you absolutely will remember. 2008 at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, the hat toss. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. He goes like this.
Let's show the visual.
Well, I can't remember if this is. It was 2 years in a row he won this tournament with putts at the end. So the hat toss is good. The hat toss is a little bit of raw aggression. My dad used to tell me I had a little bit. I would throw a club every now and then, which was really stupid because you break him when I was mad. So he said, "Throw your hat. You can't break your hat." It's a good one. I'm gonna go right in the middle of the pack. I'm gonna go at number 5 with hat toss.
I like that pick.
At API. I got to leave myself some room on both sides.
And it's not a fist pump, which many of these are variations of fist pumps.
It's a nice one. It's not like.
But it deserves recognition.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's relative.
It's unforgettable.
It's unforgettable. The hat toss is nice. It was the sheer aggression. You could tell he was really excited. He wanted to throw something.
Another unforgettable tournament, unforgettable moment, 2008 U.S. Open on a broken leg, like Greg Jennings.
This one.
The double fist pump. You got it before we even reeled
this one is really special. This is 2019 happened, so I don't know if this is any more like the most iconic victory of his career, but I'm putting this number 2.
Okay.
Because it's just, he was on we didn't know how bad it was at the time. And I think whenever I see this video or a clip of this, or I think of this tournament, I think of Steve Williams tells a story that it was really bad on, I don't know, it was the first or second round.
Oh, yeah.
And Tiger was grimacing and he's like, Tiger, you don't have to do this. You don't have to make this work. And he says, fuck you, Steve.
Fuck you, Steve. I'm winning this tournament. Yeah.
That's an iconic Tiger one. So I'm just going to write 2008 Torrey. That's going to be number 2 for me.
So that's a good pick. I'll say that was number 1 on Meyer's list.
Okay.
So you've got an empty slot.
Yeah.
It's not number 1 on my list, but my number 1 also involves Stevie Williams. But we'll move on.
Okay.
To a fist pump for the ages in 1997 at the Masters.
Yeah,
You'll remember this one.
It was sort of the first fist pump, but yeah.
Look at that wind up.
It is a wind up. I like the red sweater, kind of a baggy sweater. But I don't know. He was winning by 12. It was sort of a formality at that point. I'm going number 9 for that.
I like that pick because I think we think about it more nostalgically than it's in a vacuum.
I think of that tournament and how important that tournament was. But what is going on? There's construction going on.
I don't know what's going on.
I feel like this building is about to crumble down. But
Let's get it in while we can.
I'm going to 1997. at the Masters, because I think of that tournament, and that was a really important tournament, but less about the celebration.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's an accurate description. All right, this is one I threw in. It took one of Alex's out, threw mine in. Because it's not technically like a good celebration, but it's memorable and there was good energy. I'm calling it the good energy botched high five at the 2005 Masters after the chip in.
They did they did this all the time. That's number 10. That's a terrible celebration.
Look at that photo.
I'm going number 10, last place with that. They had no idea how to celebrate. Like, they would just have so much raw emotion. They
were so amped they couldn't even do it.
That is a horrendous celebration by any definition. By any metric, that's a bad celebration. That's a clear number 10.
Okay, but before the botched high five, he had a pretty good, like, double fist pump into his hips.
You didn't give me the double fist pump into his hips. You gave me them going like this.
I tried to include the energy.
Basically, on the high five. So that's number 10.
Okay. The next one is a contender for number 1 in my personal opinion. The 2000 PGA Valhalla, the running point.
Oh, the point is sick.
Isn't that sick?
The point's really sick. I like when he ad-libs.
Yes.
You know?
Look at that.
I think this was against...
He said, "You were mine, ball."
This was against Bob May, and then afterwards he picks it up and runs to the next hole and just screams. I'm going number 3 for that one.
Okay.
That one's pretty iconic.
I like that pick.
PGA 2000. We're gonna call it the point.
You're smart leaving number 1 open here.
I want to. We're only through 5, so I
think you're doing really well so far.
I am.
Number 6 in our list here, not in order, is one I also threw in here because I love it. The 94 USAM at Sawgrass, the running uppercut.
I do know it. I think he's wearing a straw hat.
Straw hat.
Yeah.
Striped shirt.
Look at that's a nice photo. So I guess this wasn't the first. I guess 97 wasn't the first fist pump. That was a pretty good one. He was pretty jacked. That was the first of his 3 US Amateur titles, I believe. But
on 17 at Sawgrass.
Yeah, that is true. Probably the second famous moment he had on 17 at Sawgrass, behind Better Than Most.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 7 for that one.
Okay.
94 AM at TPC. I'm actually also having fun deciding how I'm going to like shorthand these.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
All right, so next is less of a celebration and more of just like a, that emoji with like the smoke coming out of the nostrils, like flex. The 09 President's Cup, the club twirl for the ages that he held at the end.
Oh,
which is also, we have the great photo of this one. Look at this.
Out to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is aura. This is serious aura here. I'm going to go, it's better than the hat toss. Just imagine playing against that guy. You know what I mean?
You watch that happen, you're like, okay.
Yeah. I love watching clips of Tiger before he limped.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because now he limps, so it's fun watching him when he's like basically running around.
He limped on purpose as like a pimp walk back in those days.
Yeah, I mean, this is aura right here. I'm going with number 4 for this.
I like 4 for this pick.
Club twirl. Was that at Harding Park? I think.
I'm not going to answer.
Club twirl at Pres Cup. Okay.
All right, you have 3 more left.
3 left.
And you're going to have to place the 97 Phoenix Open hole-in-one windmill. Yeah, actually, yeah. So Myers called this the windmill fist pump. Like, I would like to amend that, and we'll call it the raise the roof.
It's the raise the roof.
We got to keep that in.
I think this is number 6.
Okay.
I think this is number 6. I think this beats out the AM at TPC Sawgrass. But I'm a little concerned that Myers thought that the way to shorthand this was a windmill. This is the raise the roof. He goes like this to the crowd.
It happens afterward, though. I think he windmill pumps it first, and then he
raises the roof.
Where did you put that?
6.
Okay. I think that deserves to be a little higher, but
there's
a lot of good
shit spots here.
All right, 2 left. These are 2 of my all-time favorites.
Okay.
I know I've said that about several of them, but
he's got a lot of good celebrations.
These go sort of the top for me, and the last one is my number 1 favorite. 2008 U.S. Open. It's a Saturday, I believe. He chips in. Sheepish laugh. He looks back at Stevie, takes his hat off.
This.
Yeah.
It's number 8. I mean, it's good. It's sheepish, you know. That was an electric day. He made 2 eagles on that back 9 to take the lead. I
remember watching that moment specifically and being like, Jesus Christ. It was one of those moments like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
2008 was the last year where Tiger was like completely invincible because he lost to Wat Yang in 2009.
I remember that vividly
at the PGA Championship. Talk about celebrations. How about when he held his bag over his head, Wat Yang? That's number 8 for me. We're calling it sheepish laugh. Okay.
So you're number 1.
Yep.
Which is also my number 1.
Yep.
So a great dog of synergy here. 06 Open after Earl dies.
With
hugging with Stevie.
Raw emotion.
Stevie tries to end the hug Tiger pulls him right back in, and Steve knows his job there is just to hug Tiger as long as he wants him to.
I think that's number one because I think it humanizes Tiger. You know, we think about all the fist pumps and all the amazing moments. That the major before that, he missed his first cut as a professional in a major at Winged Foot in the U.S. Open. You could tell that, you know, his dad passing really, really rocked him to his core. So, yeah, I'm going to hold up the board right here. So we're going to start at number 10. We have 2005 Masters, objectively a horrendous celebration. Can't believe that you put it on there. 1997 at the Masters, mostly just because it was about the tournament, less so the finish. Number 8, the sheepish laugh at Torrey Pines. Good one, but not what I think about when I think of that tournament. 94 Am at TPC. I think this was cucked a little bit by Better Than Most. Number 6, Raise the Roof. Great one. Now we're getting into some all-timers here. Hat Toss at API, just raw emotion. I just want to chuck something. Number 4, Club Twirl at President's Cup. Aura. Just true aura. Number 3, PGA 2000. That point. I love when he ad-libs. Number 2, 2008 Torrey. Just pure glory and relief and probably knowing that he was about to have surgery. And then number 1, we're going sentimental. 06 Open. RIP Pops.
I've only got one swap, I think.
That's when Steve Williams was literally a shoulder to cry on. What's your swap?
I think you have Club Twirl above. Where's Club Twirl?
4?
Yeah, I think Hat Toss is probably better than Club Twirl.
Well,
that's it.
That was the first one. So
and it's blind, so you did really well.
That went pretty well. I'm going to hit the honesty button again one more time. That went better than I thought it was.
That went great.
I was a little bit concerned.
Andy.
I was a little bit concerned about how that was going to go. But Andy's pumped. Andy's pumped. Okay, that was good. That was fun. All right. That was really good.
I'm going back to sidekick now.
I think we're going to do that every week. I think we got to do a blind ranking every week.
10 every week.
Because it's fun. Okay. Omar Morales. So a buddy of mine, he's at UCLA, he's a senior, won the Big Tens. He won the Big Ten championship at Baltimore Country Club. Had to fly all the way over there. They're in the Auburn regional, so we're big on college golf here on Dan on Golf and at Scratch. We had the Texas video that came out. We've got Georgia coming out. We've got Florida SEC champions coming out. So regionals are next week. They have been sent to Auburn. So UCLA will be their top 5 from every regional. Make it. Yeah. Got to talk to Omar, my buddy from Mexico, about everything. Nice little chat. A guy who's in the top 10 of PGA Tour U, so probably will be playing the Korn Ferry Tour next year if he hangs on. And yeah, here I am with Omar Morales. All right, I'm joined by the Big Ten champion. It's got a nice ring to it. Probably never thought you were going to be a Big Ten champion when you started, not because you didn't think you were good enough, but you guys were the Pac-12.
Yeah, never could I have seen it coming that we were going to change conferences at the end of my freshman year.
But like, it doesn't really. It didn't. I mean, until this week, it didn't really change anything, right? You guys play the same schedule and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much. The only thing that changes is the conference championship. So yeah, it doesn't change the schedule throughout the year.
All right, first question for you is: are we playing this afternoon or not? You said you were going to let me know.
I don't think we're playing this afternoon.
Heartbreak. You're just scared because I got new clubs.
Probably that may be the other reason.
No, you got to practice. We were talking about this last night. It was an interesting reason you gave. So you guys won the Big Ten, but you're not in the top 6, so you don't get to like go to the close. What would be the closest regional?
I think it would be either the Reno regional. The Reno regional for sure.
Okay, so you guys are going to Auburn, number 1 team in the country, defending national champions. It's going to be different. So what are you practicing like between now and then to try to get yourself ready for that?
Well, I didn't really know much about the course as soon as we got selected to go there. So I asked a bunch of questions. I asked you. I asked other people who have played at Auburn and know the course. So it seems like, it's a good test of golf. A lot of long irons, a lot of drivers, wet. So, yeah, I mean, you just got to be on your game on everything.
But the grass is different, right?
Yeah, I mean it's Bermuda grass, but we have Bermuda grass here. It's not that different. It may just be a little more wet than here because it's pretty dry.
So UCLA, I've been going to a bunch of different colleges recently, all SEC programs. There's a lot more space down in SEC country than there is in Westwood. So they have these big, massive, practice centers. You guys have an interesting situation. Tell me about your guys' like little setup you have on campus.
Yeah, I mean we have a practice facility on campus that we hit into a football field of grass, and we have a putting green that's pretty big, and we have a bunker and you can chip around there too. But yeah, it's not I mean, you can hit up to like 240 yards, and it's right here, so that's convenient. You do have to pick up your own balls, but it works great actually. I have no complaints about it.
So then, where do you guys practice? Like, you want to go hit drivers and stuff? You kind of have to like.
Either Fridays we play at Hillcrest, so we hit a bunch of balls there, and then Valencia is like 25-30 minutes away.
So you were 11th in the PGA Tour U rankings. Explain why getting into that top 10 is so massive. I think you're 8th now.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, really any spot on PGA Tour U is great. Coming off your college career, not having to play Q school right away to get into any events, but I think you're basically playing at the next step. If you're below 10, then if you're anywhere above 10, you're playing on Korn Ferry instead of PGA Tour America. So I think that's pretty big.
It's pretty self-explanatory. So last week you got off to a really good start. I think you were leading after the first round.
Second place, bud.
Second, okay. No, sorry. I'm trying here. Right. I keep track of a lot of golf tournaments these days.
I know.
Last week I was like trying to Big 12, Big 10, SEC, ACC. They all kind of bleed together. And then there was the tour event, and then there was the women's major, and there was LIV. There was a lot going on. Could you, because when you're closing out a PGA Tour event, it's pretty like self-explanatory what's happening, right? There's leaderboards everywhere. Like you're playing in the last group. What was it like last week? Like, are you able to know where you stand?
Yeah, I mean, you are able to know where you stand. There were leaderboards, but to be honest, there was a leaderboard on hole 13 on 13 green, but it was like a little bit far away, and I couldn't. It wasn't the biggest leaderboard, so you couldn't really tell. You had to walk up close to it to know where you were at. And I just didn't even bother. I didn't know where I was at. I didn't want to know where I was at. I just wanted to play well, like hit every shot to the best of my ability, not only to, close out the tournament for me, but also for the team.
Yeah, because you guys came back late. So, I mean, it would have been an interesting feeling if you won and the team didn't win, because like I don't know if you'd be able to like celebrate as much, but you got double, so it was just happiness.
Yeah, it was great. Like I said, I just wanted to play the best golf that I possibly could, because even if I won by 2 or 3, or even if I won by 1, we would have lost the team championship. So
how much did you win by, and how much did the team win by?
The team won by 1, and I won by 3.
So that's every shot mattered.
Yeah, every shot mattered.
Growing up in Mexico, did you always want to go to college in the U.S.?
Yeah, I didn't know much about the recruiting process until I was like 15 or 16. I didn't know like going to college was a thing until very late into my teens.
You didn't know that Abe Answer went to Oklahoma?
I had no idea until I was like 16 years old. I just didn't keep track of it. I just started playing a bunch of tournaments like the AGGAs and the Junior Worlds ever since I was a little kid, but it never occurred to me like, going to college is a thing back in Mexico. Going to college in the US was the thing back in Mexico, and especially playing for golf, like playing a sport. And then I remember I was playing the AGGAs really well, the junior players and the Rolex. And then I played the Junior World in San Diego really well. I think I was like 8th, and I just started getting bombarded by emails. And that was at the time where there was a rule that coaches couldn't contact you before, I think it was June of your sophomore year or something like that. And then, that really helped.
UCLA, are you guys in the quarter system?
Yes.
So you're still in school?
Yep.
So I was when I was at Georgia and Florida, and I don't know if they were ever in school, but they're definitely not in school right now. Is it like, and I went to Northwestern, which is like a very similar academic. We were also on the quarter system, very similar academic school to UCLA. I know at Northwestern, the professors like didn't really give a shit if you were a golfer. It was like, this is an academic school. Do you feel like it's like you guys are probably have a little bit more to juggle than maybe some of the other schools you're competing against?
Definitely more. But I will say that that at least the professors I have this quarter, and really every professor that I had, has been very helpful in, like letting me miss class, and letting me having a little bit of time to catch up on work and taking tests on different dates. And yeah, they've been pretty helpful with that too.
Have you decided? I mean, obviously you're going to turn pro. I would imagine right after nationals, right after NCAAs. Have you decided like where you're going to live? I mean, it's still up in the air as far as what hopefully you're going to play on the Corn Ferry Tour, but have you decided like where you're going to set up base? Because college golf, all you have to do, the joke I make is all you have to do is wipe your own ass, and if you ask the coach, he might actually do it for you. Whereas at pro golf, you're going to be on your own.
Yeah, well, my parents moved to Tampa like 2 years ago, so I'll have a base there, and I'll have a place to play there. And yeah, I'm just focused on closing out the season strong, and we'll go from there.
If you need a caddy, I'll give you 1 week for free.
Sure. I have your number, so I might.
Well, I mean, we played together, and then you won. We've played together a few times now, and then you won Big Ten. So I'm obviously, watching this ball striking exhibition at Brentwood Country Club is obviously inspiring you to do great things.
Yeah, I will say the week after I played with you, I lost by 1 at Stanford, so that wasn't, it wasn't a bad event. So
I have a good impact on you.
Maybe you have a good luck charm.
So when are you guys heading out there? And what's the plan?
We're heading out there on Friday, and then Saturday we're playing. I don't know. I think Coach said we're playing somewhere in Atlanta Saturday, and then Saturday night we drive to Auburn and then play practice round on Sunday.
And then when's the show start?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
So it's 3 rounds of stroke play.
Yeah, 3 rounds of stroke play.
And then it's top 5 teams advance.
Yep, just a shootout.
Sick. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm excited too.
I'll see you soon, regardless, but I'll hopefully also see you at La Costa. And yeah, man, thanks for joining.
Forward. All right, thanks, Dan.
Nice kid. I'm excited for. I'm really excited for NCAAs. I mean, it's I don't get very much newness in golf. I've been to basically everything. I've never been to NCAAs.
I'm learning all about it through like our coverage of it, so I'm loving this too.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to La Costa. It was the first year they had it was last year, and apparently I watched on TV the greens were like as hard as this table, so hopefully they've softened up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, there's I've said this before in videos and stuff, but you talk to these PGA Tour pros and I think they would trade places with the college guys. Like, there's just, as much money as you make, as much success as you have, there's nothing like being part of a team.
Well, because life in college is the best 4 years of life.
Yeah.
Just all things considered. And then you also tack, like, free golf onto that.
Well, it's not just free golf. You're basically at golf camp with all your best friends who are, like, also +8 handicaps.
Yeah. And, like, those facilities that you're seeing, like, they just can go out there and, like, do some like 6 short game drills anytime they want.
Yeah,
it's a dream.
It's a dream. All right, Dog of the Week. That's a acronym. Stands for Dan on Golf. Welcome to the show. We love having you guys. It's Erik van Rooyen this week. So Erik van Rooyen shot 23 under, finished second, got dusted by Scottie, lost by 8. He's not a huge fan of the signature event model. So he qualified for the Truist this week through the Aon Swing 5 with his solo second. This is one of the few ones that has no cut. Remember, the Player Invitational, so Genesis, Bay Hill, and Memorial, they have a cut. Obviously, the majors have a cut. There are only a couple that don't have a cut. This is one of them. And he was asked about qualifying afterwards. Here's Erik van Rooyen.
With that process of, the Aon Swing 5 and getting into this event, how was your perspective on that?
How honest do you want me to be? I hate it. I strongly believe that the strongest fields are the ones with the most players in them. The guys on the PGA Tour are so good. It's so deep. I get that you've got the Scotties of the world, the Rorys of the world, and people want to see them and it's entertaining. But like the PGA Championship coming up, for example, I think that's the strongest field in the game. And I think good play needs to be rewarded. It's part of why the PGA Tour is the greatest tour in the world. It's so deep, it's so strong. But I think Rory always says it, just play better.
So I totally agree, and he's been consistent about this. So last year he was asked about the changes to the tour when they dropped the number of fully exempt guys from 125 to 100. He said, I saw Wyndham's comment 2 years ago. Wyndham was in that 100 to 125 spot. He should have lost his card, and now he's a major winner, and all of a sudden. And he said, and Rory, I know he wants the tour to be more cutthroat. Well, this is the most cutthroat sport there is. You miss the cut, you're gone, bro. You're not making money.
I like it.
I completely agree. I think getting rid of the cut is a bad move.
I agree.
I totally understand like signature events and you want to have it like hard to get into, maybe they're 100 instead of 120 or 144, but there is just something romantic about the cut, about it's embarrassing to miss it. It's a tournament within a tournament. There's something amazing about our sport where you start at 0 every week, and if you don't make it through this halfway point, you don't get anything. I wrote an article about this right before I left Golf Digest. I want to say it was like 2021 Genesis, something like that. I remember I was watching John Rahm grind over a 6-footer to make the cut, and he just wanted to make it so bad. He made it. He went crazy. He wasn't going to win the tournament, but making the cut and avoiding that trunk slam, that MC hammer, as I call it, is a big thing. Guys take pride in it. So, like I said, I'm cool with signature events. I get it. Get all the top guys together. It doesn't mean that you have to have them that small. It doesn't mean that there has to be no cut.
I think the fighting for the cut, like the game within the game, is the same thing of like when amateurs will have a bad front nine and just be like, all right, like I'm just going to go have like 9 holes that are good. Like I'm going to turn it around.
Just got to make the cut.
Yeah.
Just got to make the cut. And all this stuff, the sponsors want to see the top guys. The top guys don't really miss that many cuts. That's why they're the top guys. Yeah. So I don't think it would be that big of a difference.
I'm glad he said that.
If we brought the cuts back.
Honest answer. Honesty button.
I think it's a bad thing that the cuts are gone. I think there should be cuts in all the big PGA Tour events. I think it's a nice differentiator. All right. There's no cut this week at the Truist Championship, which is at Philly Cricket, which is in this guy's neck of the woods, an absolute legend of golf writing. We've got Michael Bamberger joining us live on the show. Michael, how are we doing?
Good. Dan, I've observed that sometimes you volunteer to caddy for people.
Yes, you've done that.
What would I have to do to qualify for such an invitation?
Didn't you write a book about that?
I have, but I want you to caddy for me to see, since you actually can play golf and I'm trying to break 90, if you can help me.
I don't think I'm patient enough for that endeavor. I think you got to be. I'm a pro caddy only. I wanted to ask you, Michael. So you're a Philly guy. The tour's coming to your city. Tell me about sort of the Philly golf scene and where Philly Cricket Club fits in that.
Okay, now you may or may not know, but I should say, if you don't know, I'm a member there, so of course, I'm very prejudiced in favor of it. We've got 3 courses at the Cricket Club. Pardon me. We've got a 18-hole course by Hers and Fry. It's a good modern public course. Everything's big. We have this really lovely Tillinghast course where they're playing the Truist, and then we have my favorite of the 3. The St. Martin's course. It's a 9-hole course. It's a remnant of where they had the U.S. Open twice in 1907 and 1910, I believe. And it's a mile from my house. So I can play it in about 50 minutes. So we're rich in golf at the Cricket Club. Philadelphia, as I know you know, but maybe others wouldn't, is one of the great golf capitals of the United States, along with Chicago and certainly New York. Wherever there was great wealth in the 20s, you really have a lot of golden age golf course architecture. So for those who wouldn't know, Aronimink is a renowned course here. Gulf Mills, White Marsh. It's such a long list. Marion, of course, Pine Valley, of course. But in addition to that, we have some really good public courses as well. There's a course called Jeffersonville that I know a lot of you probably know, and a lot of your listeners probably would. It's an old Donald Ross. So we're rich in Tillinghast, Flynn, Cobbs Creek, where they're making a big effort to fix it up as they have done at Harding Park. So it's really one of the great capitals of the country.
I wanted to ask you about Rory McIlroy. I saw you did an interview. I don't remember where it was. Everyone's the sort of conventional wisdom seems to be Rory's freed up now. He's going to win a bunch more majors. You kind of zagged when everyone else zigged. What's your take on Rory going forward?
Well, why? Why do people think he'll suddenly just go crazy in majors?
I think he's put himself in position so many times that it feels like a virtual certainty that he will put himself in position again on the weekend. And I think there's a certain freedom that he said it himself that he feels like he'll play completely differently now. I mean, if he doesn't make another cut in his career, he's an all-time great, right? So it's all gravy at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's why sometimes it's easier if you're trying to size up what's going to happen Sunday at Augusta, and one of the guys like Tiger 19 is the only guy who has won it before. It's easier for that guy to win it again because he's sort of playing with house money. So I definitely understand that logic. But my point about Rory, and I've been writing about him since he's 19. I have enormous admiration for him and what he's done in the game. Is that guys who've gone on runs. Hogan, Mickey Wright, Nicklaus, Tiger, of course, are demonstrably better than the rest of the field. He's not. He's just really great, along with, a half dozen other guys. And of course, in the next 5 years, it's not likely he's going to get better at golf. Other guys probably will get better at golf. So I don't see him. I agree with you, Dan. He should keep contending, and some of the times when he contends, he should win. But does that make you go from 5 to 9? I don't think so.
Fair enough. It's easy to get swept up in the moment, but sometimes it's nice to get some perspective of someone who's seen a few things. Speaking of perspective, so the Wednesday before the Truist, there's going to be this Creator Classic at Philly Cricket Club. Golf media has certainly changed. You're as I said, the dean maybe of golf writing. I think you're probably the greatest living golf writer, which is a very very high compliment. But it's changed a lot. What's your take on how golf media, or just sort of sports media in general, has changed over the last, I would say 20 years, but really over the last 10 probably?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the difference in our ages, Dan, I mean, your skill set, you could have just gone down a writing path, and you started going down the writing path, and I'm like, wow, I can't wait to see where this kid goes. But then other things came calling for you, and you've taken your talents, like Kobe Bryant and others before you, to where the audience is. And I respect that and understand that. For my own personal taste, I grew up on the written word. It's really the only thing I love. It's really the only thing I'm half decent at. I'm lousy at this, and it's not my comfort zone at all. But I think in general, life evolves, and you go where people are. And this is where people are getting their news, and this is where they're entertaining themselves. And you can stick your head in a hole, but then you've got your head in a hole, and that's a weird way to go through life. So I understand it and accept it. It's not for me, but I applaud those for whom it's for. And I've seen a lot of, I've seen snippets of a lot of great, fun, entertaining stuff.
Yeah, fun, I think, is the word.
I'd rather read a book.
Totally. And for me, I tell Ben this every time, because Ben's always getting me to try to write. It's like pulling teeth for me. It's my favorite part of writing every time is being done. So it's
that everyone.
But
feels
then what do you like about it? What do you like about it?
1 second. That piece you wrote about, what's the name of the kid from New Jersey who
Morgan Hoffman.
I mean, that piece is as good as it gets. So now that piece, with all due respect to this interview, that piece will have a shelf life of forever. This piece will have a shelf life of half a day, if that. So, to me, it's two different things, but I respect the fact that you can do both. I used to say this to Tim Rosenford. Tim Rosenford really, I know who Tim Rosenford. Those who don't know, he died several years ago. Was a writer at Sports Illustrated, and then really made a name for himself on TV. And I could never do what Tim Rosenford did, but all his admiration was for what Dan Jenkins and Jim Murray and that generation did. So I don't know. It's hard to really hard to summarize in a sentence.
No, I love reading your stuff. It's like some of my favorite stuff to read in all of sports. I know this is a massive question, but you've been doing this a long time. Fast forward 25 years, how will you describe these last 5 years with Live Golf? What's your, and this sort of, craziness that's been dropped into our game, what is your top line takeaway?
That's really a great question. I think it's really the most telling question. It's done, in my opinion, it has done nothing good for golf. It's revealed a sort of grubbiness for golf. Now I know you know this about me, Dan. I mean, I romanticize the game, but in part because it deserves to be romanticized, because this system of rules and orderly behavior and being cordial to your playing partners, it sounds fuddy-duddy. It actually really is the game. And that doesn't mean you can't be low to a personality like John Daly was, or Tiger, or Big Jack, or Hogan, all these varied personalities. But that really is the game. Now the game has looked much more ordinary because guys have left just for money. I don't really know what else would have drawn them to this other tour. I don't really see what Live Golf has done to improve professional golf in any way, except for make, a few dozen caddies and players and their managers some money.
I think that's been who's been best off. The players are richer than they've ever been, and I think that's, but if you look at other sports, when you're watching the Super Bowl, they don't talk about Patrick Mahomes makes $48 million, because if anything, it turns you off. You know what I mean? Right. It's something that's been sort of kept like under wraps, and now it's been just completely brought out in the open.
What's your own personal interest in it? I mean, do you follow it from week to week? Can you tell me what the Crushers did in any given week?
Yeah, I follow it on an individual perspective because I feel like it's my job. And I talk about golf every week on this show. The way I've always described it is I understand it from a personal standpoint, right? It's not every golfer's job to look out for the honor and the history and the future of the game, right? It's a little bit of like a tragedy of the commons situation, right? Like you offer a bunch of guys a lot of money and a lot of them are going to take it even if it does damage to, the rest of the ecosystem. So I completely understand it on an individual perspective, but I agree with you. I don't think it's been necessarily a net positive for the game, and I don't see it doesn't seem like they're at all close to ending this. And it's been, we're almost at 2 full years since that framework agreement, and it doesn't feel like we're any closer, maybe even further.
Right. And Dan, to the point you just made, part of my strong attraction to golf is that people like Palmer and Nicklaus, Tom Watson, even Woods, definitely Woods, I think you could always say they put the game first.
That's fair.
Really. And so when you say these people left for money, well, that's not putting the game first. When you look at like the comment that Collin Morikawa made the other day about he doesn't own the media anything, and that's fine. You can have his opinion, of course. That goes without saying. But what Trevino and that previous generation all felt was like, it's good for the game. I may not feel like answering these questions. A lot of the times it's fine. A lot of times, sometimes it's not. But it's good for the game. So if you serve the game perpetuates, and there's a great beauty in that. And, this is really overdoing it, but I do believe it. When you take that approach and apply it to life in general, it actually does make the world a better place. And in the ecosystem of golf, if you look at, let's just look at American golf from, Hagen and Jones to where we are today, or where it would have been, just 5 years ago, it's evolved constantly and it's gotten better constantly. So this is a serious, to your question about what we'll think decades from now, I think this has been a serious detour for the game, and I don't really know how the game can sort of get its footing.
Is the word greed, if you had to choose one word?
Yeah, greed. I mean, the word I sort of use more than that is grubbiness, because
what does that mean?
What does it mean? It means leaving, like, let's say in Phil Mickelson's case, he grew up on the PGA Tour. He made millions from the PGA Tour. I understand I really truly do understand he had his frustration that, felt it should be more of a star-driven tour. But to leave this thing that helped make you for a couple $100 million or whatever it was, it just seems grubby. I mean, when is enough enough? I think that's what I mean by grubby. But greed is its equivalent. That's a really fine word to describe where it is.
Well, will I see you at Philly?
Likes the word greed. No one is drawn to the word greed, I don't think.
Grubbiness is a better word. That's why you're the wordsmith, and that's why I'm, doing this. Will you be at Philly Cricket this week?
Yeah, very much so. It's going to be, it's weird. Like, parking is on this thing called Jolly Road that's 6 miles from the golf course. And like, I'm a sneak around guy as it is. Like, I'll go to U.S. Opens and park in people's lots, pay whatever they want. Like, I don't even know how I'm going to get access to my own golf course. So it's a funny thing. But yeah, it really should be a delight. It's a Tillinghast course, as I said earlier, but it's not like Baltusrol and Winged Foot. It's not like this mean-spirited macho golf course like those things are.
More like Quaker Ridge, where I was a member in New York, kind of with the charm.
Yeah, Quaker, yes, that's a very good example. Quaker can be really challenging. Yeah. I don't think Cricket Club is quite as challenging as Quaker, but it's lovely. I'd forgotten that you were a member there. Why would you ever leave New York and Quaker Ridge?
Well, some of us haven't written 12 books and don't have all these royalties flowing in. You know what I mean? It's not free to be a member somewhere.
Yeah.
No, the real reason is because I never go to New York. I just never go to New York. I go to Scottsdale all the time. I go to Florida all the time. It's just going to New York is just. I went once last year, and it was because I felt like a duty to go there. So,
your family is in Los Angeles, is that correct?
Yes.
But then you went to college in Chicago.
I went to college in Chicago. And I moved to New York, and now I'm back in LA.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to picking your brain. We could talk for a long time.
Where do you play in Los Angeles?
Brentwood Country Club.
Oh my God! Well, come on.
Well, I got it. So they're not free, so that's why I got rid of one. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michael. I'll pick your brain later this week. We'll do this again soon. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for all the best.
Good stuff. He's a GOAT.
I love Michael.
He's a GOAT.
He's somebody that had no business like being kind to me when I first met him, and was as kind as anybody has ever been to me.
He's a GOAT.
Love that guy.
He's an incredible writer. He's one of those writers that other people try to write like him, subconsciously, but it's like trying to sing like Adele. Like Adele does that.
He's like Charlie Pierce.
Is he? Yeah, he's on that tier, I think. Michael Bamberger. All right, we're gonna finish the show as we do every week with chirps from the gallery. I love the internet. You guys are hilarious. This guy had a pretty entertaining take on golf. Let's pull this one up. It's coming. Yeah, golf is kind of sus. Why are you evaluating another man's stroke? That brings us back to the stroking epidemic that we were on.
Because sometimes you gotta stroke a guy.
You gotta look at someone's stroke, but that is sort of what golf is. Especially that's what I do. I mean, I evaluate men's strokes. That's all I do.
You get paid to do that.
I'm not even a professional golfer. I'm a professional stroke analyzer, basically. Stroke analyst. That's
nice
my new
title.
moniker. All right, so I've been covering college golf a lot more, so I posted this kind of wrap-up of who won all the different conference championships, and then if I open the comment section, which is a mistake, and what do I see? First thing, no love for mid-majors. Like, can I get a little credit? You know what I mean?
Come on. Well, you got to start somewhere.
You know what I mean? Like, no love for mid-major. Like, sorry I wasn't all over, the America East Conference Championship last week. I'm trying to keep track of like 15 different golf tournaments at one time.
There's always going to be the opportunity for that to happen.
You never make everyone happy. Okay, Phil Mickelson had quite the hot take. He got freezing cold takes this week, which is, I've never been freezing cold takes. Fingers crossed. Here's a hot take: Does Scottie win in 2025 before the Ryder Cup? I don't think so. That was on March 16th. That did not turn out to be correct, but he owned it. He owned it because I think Trevor Immelman called him out and he said, so I might have been off on that one. Congrats to Scottie on a great performance. It's done.
Double thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Everyone loves Phil. Thumbs up. That's how you do it. Okay, Chris Powers making an appearance again. So this guy was sober for like 40 days or something. He was sober all week at Masters Week, which is, that's tough to do. And he kept on saying, Myrtle Beach. I'm going to Myrtle Beach for my buddy's bachelor party. And this is, I wanted to hear from this week. He said, I'm the type of hungover where I could cry at a moment's notice at anything. Literally teared up over an instant reel of that Paramore singer's raw vocals for Still Into You. What a moving performance. This guy is a comedic genius. And he's what are you, off the wagon? You're on the, when you're off the wagon?
Off. I think off.
He's off the wagon. Gabby Herzig, she's been on the show. I thought this was a great point she made about Scottie Scheffler and the aria that he pulled on 17. Let's show this. This was the best part of watching Scottie today by far. You can be 30-plus strokes under par, and then you just duff one in front of everyone. That is golf for you. It never ceases to be extremely difficult. I loved with this clip that it rolled directly back.
It's like right where it was.
Right where it was before.
And he kind of duffed the second one, too.
Yeah, he didn't hit a good second one, did make the bogey, but that's why he didn't set the record. Kenny Kim made a mistake. I think he said, I think I made a mistake. I miss Kenny Kim. He shaved his beard.
Oh, I was going to say, what did he do?
Yeah,
He's not wearing glasses?
I want the beard back, but I also want Kenny Kim back in my life. I think it's about time we do a little check-in with Kenny.
Kenny, come find us if you're going to be in Philly, if you're going to be in Charlotte, wherever.
He said Canada. He said Canada was the next one that he was going to. I'm not going to Canada. Honestly, I might end up going to Canada.
Just for Kenny?
Just for Kenny. Last one, Brandel Chambly. This is about Eric Van Rooyen. He said, this is just gold from Eric Van Rooyen. Read it, breathe it in, and let it sink in because this is as much truth as Sir Isaac Newton describing the laws of motion. I think he tweeted a couple, we had him on the show talking about Elon Musk, where like Elon Musk is really good at creating cars and the PGA Tour is really good at creating stars.
Yeah.
Just pulled out of my brain.
Yeah.
He's on like the Colin Cowherd analogy train, Sir Isaac Newton.
Read it, breathe it in, let it sink in.
Read it. Breathe it.
420.
Let it sleep in. 420. Exactly. Okay, clip of the week. I love this. This is Rafa Nadal talking about watching Rory McIlroy complete the career Grand Slam.
I didn't see it.
I love tennis. I would say I love tennis. I really loved Roger Federer. He was kind of carried me through tennis. I was always a Roger over Rafa guy. But amazing to hear, other athletes talk about other athletes. Here's Rafa Nadal on Rory McIlroy. We'll see you back next week. Like and subscribe, please, if you watch this video. We'll see you next week. Yeah, big stuff coming here on Dan on Golf. Thanks for joining us.
I have been super emotional. I was crying at home when he won. Yeah, I've been very, very emotional, and I was suffering a lot with him.
What were you thinking as that played out?
Well, I honestly had the confidence all the time that he will make it happen because he deserved it, first of all, and I always think that in some way there is justice. I really believe that probably he knew before the round that he gonna go through all these pressure moments, and the beginnings are tough, but I think he accepted very well. Not very tough first hole. I think he was lucky in the first couple of holes with a couple of drivers that stayed in the bunker just for this. So then Rory was playing very well. I think he made a very risky shot in the 11. He was lucky there, but then again. The mistake in the third shot, for me, that was the toughest moment of the round.
Your recollection is incredible. I mean, it's like you recall your tennis matches.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I know very well the golf course in Augusta. I watch it. I love the golf. I love Rory, honestly, and I love him as a sportsman and as a person, and I wanted him to win so much. So I watched it every single shot, and yeah, it was very, very emotional at the end. I was so happy.